Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more My Butthole mixed with some relationships too. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. As I always say, it massively helps out. 95,000 subscribers. Nearly 100, you absolute cheeky so-and-sos. Thank you so much, and let's crack on with today's first story. Now, today's first story comes from Oompa Loompa 5, who says, "Am I the arsehole for not helping my wife buy a dental office when she insisted to get a prenup before marriage?" And of course, it does come with an update. My wife and I are in our very late 30s. When we were getting married, we both were making about the same. Neither of us had anything. I didn't want a prenup because I don't think that's how a marriage should work. But my wife wanted a prenup because she was going to dental school and thought when she opens her own clinic, she will make way more money than me and didn't want to share any of that. Long story short, reluctantly, I agreed to the prenup that also has a provision for future assets. And we basically have had separate finances ever since. Everything is split 50-50 for the most part. Edit to clarify, 50-50 when it comes to shared expenses like groceries or going out. She doesn't pay anything towards the mortgage. She pays about 30% of the mortgage as rent each month. Recently, she started thinking about opening her own clinic and wants to buy a place which costs about $2 million, give or take, including any potential renovations and all the equipment. She won't get approved for a $2 million loan and does not have 20% to put down, not to mention she would need some buffer as well to pay employees and etc. for a couple of months until the business picks up. Part of it is understandable. University and dental school were expensive and she started working later in life. But she also in general spent money liberally. I graduated at 22 and over the years bought 3 houses and saved up regularly to buy more rental properties / invest in stocks. I can't help her get a loan and pay a down payment, but since she wanted a prenup when we got married, I don't see why I should just give her or even lend her that much money. I told her I can help her with a loan, pay the down payment, be a co-signer and pay the expenses until it's profitable if she splits the clinic 50-50 and no need to pay me back, or I can loan her the money at 8% interest. She started losing it and being shocked at how I would even think about trying to take a percentage of her business. Friends and family say we are married and she is my wife, so I should help her succeed in her career and give her the money interest-free, and she will pay me back whenever she can. I don't share this sentiment. I think she made it clear how she wanted our financial lives to be when she insisted on a prenup. Also, people might say 8% is a lot, but keep in mind she can't get a loan on her own. If I'm risking $600k on a down payment and expenses for a few months when no bank would, this is the interest rate I would be comfortable with and she should be able to pay it back. The way buying dental clinics works is they are valued based on how much cash flow they have currently, and based on the clinic she is looking at, she should be able to make good money. Anyway, people around us are saying I'm being unreasonable and greedy. I disagree. Wife wanted a prenup and separate finances. She is getting just that. I don't see why I should help her with no benefit to me. So, am I the arsehole? Edits, and thank you for everyone for your input. There are way too many comments to respond to everyone, but I'm reading as much of them as I can. Now, usually when we cover stories with prenuptial agreements and things like that, it's always from the point of view about the assets that they owned before they got married, and I would always say, yeah, protect your assets and things like that, especially when going into a new marriage. But once you're together and you're married, surely you want to build things together. You want to maybe build this dental practice together, and it's something that you both can put into. So I kind of find it a bit sad that you got prenuptial stuff on after you got married. I don't know, maybe that's a hypocritical thing to say. Not quite computing in my head at the moment. But now that the situation is done and you're in this position and you're asking this question, I got to say, I don't think you're the arsehole in this situation. She can't get a loan for that amount and you're willing to put up the money, but she wants you to do it for absolutely no reward. And again, I just find it all a bit sad, to be quite honest. On the second paragraph, I was like, oh, but because it said, but my wife wanted a prenup because she was going to dental school and thought when she opens her own clinic, she'll make way more money than me and didn't want to share any of that. I'll be very interested in your opinions on this one, but Brain Duster says, not the arsehole, and prenuptial addresses future assets. She literally made this situation. She wants to take from you but not risk you benefiting from it. The give and take either works both ways or it doesn't. Alicia Nia says, not the arsehole, but you could also propose a post-nup to hash out the details of this new endeavor as well. If she won't do that, seriously, she has no leg to stand on. Poppy Goo says, this is depressing to hear. Why are you even married? I understand a prenup covering anything you have before marriage, but not after. After is what you build together, and this new business should be built together and shared together if you are both contributing to it. I guess not the arsehole, but still a weird situation to even be in. Talos Braun says, not the arsehole. She wanted things split. This is the result of things being split. I'm not financially minded, but I think your suggestion of a loan with an interest percentage or a percentage of a business being in your hands seems fair, though I don't know enough to evaluate the fairness of 8%. Evocative Enigma says, not the arsehole. She was the one who insisted on the prenup in order to protect her future assets and now is asking you to fund a business that she will still claim is protected by the prenup, so that profit would only be hers. She can't have it both ways. In quotes, your money is our money, so therefore it is my money, but my money is only mine. Then says, your wife sounds really selfish, to be honest. A minimum reference finishes with, everyone sucks here. Why are you even married? Opie replies saying, well, we enjoy each other's company and have a good, loving relationship. We also have one kid. We just don't agree when it comes to finances, which is a huge deal, but we've tried to make it work the past 20 years. Besides the disagreements on that front, we do love our life, each other, and our kid. So then OP went on to update their post, which says, a lot of people have been asking for an update, even to this day, but 2 weeks after I made my post, I got a new phone and lost access to this account. I didn't remember my username or the password, and the account was made with an email that doesn't exist. Anyway, finally remembered my username and guessed the password a few times last week, and here we are. Buying a dental practice, getting loans, sorting things out between me and the wife took time. After a bunch of back and forth with my wife, weeks of sleeping in separate rooms after we fought, we finally got down to talking about what the point of the prenup was in the first place and what were our thoughts about our marriage and our kid. We didn't see ourselves ever getting divorced and still loved each other, so after some convincing the wife that the prenup is worthless if we don't intend to ever get divorced, we came to the conclusion that the prenup isn't serving any purpose and decided to cancel it altogether. So the whole prenup business is gone for good now. Following that, now that everything is 50-50 by default, I'm helping with the expenses as stated in the original post, and we're back to our lives and celebrate this new chapter. We're going to have a second kid, which is exciting and although scary at the same time, since we are in our late 30s now. We always wanted 2 kids. I don't think I mentioned it in the post that we have 1 kid together, but I think I had mentioned it in the comments. Anyways, most likely no more updates going forward, but thank you for all your inputs. And I'll just give you a quick overview of the comments below that, and everyone was concerned about this prenup and how did they sort of cancel it if you can, and I have no clue about that anyway, but they were basically saying, I hope that they did it properly and they didn't just sort of say, yeah, we won't act on that if push comes to shove kind of thing, because, that doesn't mean shit basically, that you need to do it legally, you need to file the paperwork to have it cancelled and all that sort of stuff with a lawyer, I guess, or something like that. But what do you guys make of this one? What do you think about the update? Do you think it will end well, or do you have another thought on the matter? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Am I the Arsehole 2191, and it covers several different subreddits, and someone sent me this one and they said, it has got updates, but at the end it still does feel frustrating and inconclusive. So up to you if you want to listen to it. Totally up to you, and it's titled, My Wife Lied to the Police About My Stepdaughter. 2 days ago, my son Jay, 17, came to my job upset and crying. He told me my stepdaughter Kay, 19, came home with a ton of new things, and when he checked his room, the cash he had been saving was gone. Kay doesn't have a job, and when she does have cash, she spends it like it'd burn a hole in her pocket. My boss let me go home early, and I went to ask Kay who took her shopping. Kay told me she used her own cash. I told her to tell me the truth, and she told me to mind my own business. Jay has been working at Papa Murphy's and has been saving it. He was saving to surprise the dad of his friend who passed away, for his first birthday without him. His friend has given him cash to load onto his card to pay at the pump. It's this weekend for 2 days, and they were going to treat dad. Most kids would be saving for their first car or cool clothes, but he just wanted to be there for his friend's dad. Instead of arguing back and forth with Kay, I checked the camera we have to check on the dogs. It only caught her legs, but it was Kay going into Jay's room. The rule in my house is we don't go into each other's rooms. It's a mutual respect of privacy. I told Kay she was caught and that she needed to get everything to return it all. Kay started throwing every excuse. I had it saved for months. How do you know it was me? Someone must have broken in. Her mum came home and she burst into tears, saying we were ganging up on her. I showed my wife the video and what happened. Kay ended up saying, "Why does he get to have all the money anyway?" He worked his ass off. I told my wife she needs to make Kay return everything, and she said no, that it would be embarrassing to return it all, and that when Kay got a job, she would repay Jay. I said it'd be more embarrassing when she gets arrested for stealing $400. We argue, and I tell my wife Kay broke a non-negotiable rule, as well as the law by stealing. She is 19, and she doesn't pay rent and needs to leave. My wife says, if you kick her out, I'm going too. So I asked if she was willing to replace the money stolen. We have separate bank accounts. Force Kay to return, or she give me her half of the rent early. We split all bills. No. They packed a few bags and left. I'm not going to rip the bags of stuff out of her hands. I don't think getting physical would have been the smartest thing to do. Before you make me out to be the arsehole, I do not have extra money for him to still go. I can only replace the small amount back to his friends, and it's not enough to make the trip. He went to bed without eating and has been crushed. I posted to a sub Am I the Arsehole and was flooded with people telling me I should have called the police. So this morning, that is what I did. The solution was that the officer would call my wife to bring Kay to the station or to talk, or she could return the items and pay Jay back. Sort of a scare tactic because I was told it is a civil matter. My wife straight up fucking lied to the officer and said she gave the money to Kay. Since I don't have actual proof of Jay's money, no other proof than her walking into his room, nothing can be done. I'm livid. I literally watched Jay get his heart broken at the police station. Through tears he said, "How could they do this to me? What was this all for? I just wanted to see Bao's dad." Sorry if the pronunciation was wrong there. Jay is my son from a previous relationship. I had to lecture him on not keeping large amounts of cash in his room, but he didn't think it would get stolen. My wife and Kay have support, staying with family. This won't affect them. I'm incredibly heartbroken for your son in this particular story. Working hard to save, not for like a games console or anything like that, to be kind towards his friend's dad and show love towards him. That's all he wanted to do with that money. And wife has the audacity to say it would be embarrassing for her to take those items back. I mean, that's the fucking point. As well as to get the money back, obviously, but she's just condoning the behavior. Just getting her out of that situation, condoning, enabling that behavior. It's not going to help her in the future. The only lesson that a 19-year-old has learned now, that's fine. You can get away with it. Steal all you like and enjoy the goods that you just bought. But Pure Yam comes in and says, "My blood started boiling when I read the part where your wife says it'd be embarrassing to return it all. Who fucking cares? That's the whole fucking point anyway. If she's sufficiently embarrassed, maybe she'll think twice next time before stealing." Too Tired to Care replies, "That's in exactly. It should be embarrassing. OP, open an account for your son at the local credit union and get him an ATM card. Have your son put his money directly into the account and keep his card on him at all times. You could get petty and find a few things with your stepdaughters and wives and sell them to get the money back. At the very least, end the relationship with your wife. You and your son deserve better. Good riddance. Salty Vet says you can pursue her civilly if it was $3,000 or less. You can do it in small claims court and won't need to pay for an attorney. I would definitely go that route if I were you. Puzzle-headed Core says, how can people be so horrible? I couldn't imagine condoning such behavior from my child. What she doesn't realize is the monster she is creating by letting her get away with this. There was a lesson to be learned here if she had been embarrassed returning the things. One day she will steal from the wrong people. As for your son, this has been a terrible experience for him, and I won't judge him because in our family, we don't lock our rooms, but closing our doors is as good as locking them because we respect other people's privacy. And not to forget, you should leave that horrible woman. So OP went to ask on a personal finance Reddit about this and said, sorry if this is a stupid question, but my son basically got robbed by his stepsister and I'm trying to figure out how to move forward. He had the cash saved up in his room and the police can't do anything about it since my wife lied about it to protect her daughter, and I don't want him to ever be in this position again. He has a prepaid card that he adds money to at the register, but it doesn't offer any fraud protection if someone tried using his card in the future. I thought about adding him to my bank account, but I'm filing for divorce and I don't know if that would affect opening a new account. He works at Papa Murphy's and gets a paper check. Any advice? Further update 5 days later and says, I know a lot of people are waiting for an update after reading my first post. It was removed because too many comments about cash. Please do not mention crowdfunding or GFM. I don't know if this update will stay up before it's taken down. I'm not deleting the posts. In case you didn't read my first post, message me if you want to read it. My 17-year-old son had been saving all summer to go visit his dad's friend on the first birthday of Jay's friend since he passed. I did not know he had so much cash in his room. I would have told him to put it in a safe, but I'm not going to victim blame. My son shouldn't have to worry about someone stealing from him. The rule in my house is no one gets to go into each other's room, parents included. It's not so much of a rule, but a mutual respect thing. My 19-year-old stepdaughter stole his money. Her mum refused to make her return the stuff she got, and I almost took the bags from her, but I'm glad I didn't because my wife lied to the police about the money, so she could have easily lied about me putting hands on her. The police said it was a civil matter since my wife said she gave Kay the money, which was a lie. My wife said if I was kicking Kay out, she was going too. I didn't stop them. My wife and Kay have support, staying with family. This won't affect them. This weekend, my wife showed back up with a sheriff's escort. She came armed with a receipt showing that she bought the furniture in our rental and that is all she needed to take everything. I tried explaining I gave her cash for some of the items, but guess what? Just like with Jay, cash doesn't have a trail. Her family helped her move everything in under an hour. With how quick this all happened, the cynic in me thinks my wife had this planned well before what happened. My wife contacted the landlord and paid a lot of money to break the lease, almost double the cash that Kay stole, but of course she didn't offer to repay Jay. After everyone left and my landlord called, I had a mini breakdown. Everything was moving faster than I could comprehend and honestly felt like I was watching a movie. Jay came up to me and said, I'm so sorry you lost everything because of me. It's not a big deal. I'll tell Mum it's okay that Kay needed it more than me. That's all I needed to snap out of it. I told him he is my everything, not her. Not the house, not the furniture, not the food that was in the fridge. Yes, super cheesy, but there is nothing my wife can do, say, or give me to make me overlook or be okay with what they did to him. I asked him, are you going to feel comfortable around them? What about when you are gone? I don't want you to have to worry about what she will steal next. Kay is going to get away with this. My wife made a choice when the police officer asked her about Kay. She chose to defend and protect Kay just like I'm choosing to protect Jay. If Jay isn't comfortable, I'm not comfortable, and I told him that. The people in my life have been slamming me online, saying things like I'm uncomfortable that he would choose his son over his wife, and his son is almost an adult, it's time to grow up and be a man. It doesn't matter what age I am, I will always protect Jay. I blocked everyone after that. Yes, he is almost an adult, but that doesn't mean it's okay to steal from him. Having a crime or something bad happening to you isn't a rite of passage to be an adult. He's a responsible, hardworking, honest, kind, almost a man, but he is also the 8-year-old who used to run to me every day after work with a huge smile like I hung the moon. I cannot afford the full rent, so luckily my landlord has agreed to let us leave by the 1st. The only place we have to go to is my mum's, who lives across the state. This means I have to pull Jay out of his last year of high school and transfer him. I have to sell what little we have left here, and that might include selling Jay's beta car, but the silver lining is Jay and I can transfer locations for work. More has always been more of a mother to Jay than my wife. Mums are healing at any age. I'm not saying I'm not devastated, that I'm not suffering emotional whiplash, and I'm not saying the things that are being said about me in real life aren't affecting me, because it is. But my son needs me. He's still grieving his friend, missing his senior year with his friends, and I'm not the kind of parent to say, because I said so, or we are moving and you don't get a choice or opinion on it. That isn't me. Edits, please keep it civil in the comments. I don't want this to get pulled because I've had a ton of people wanting an update. The furniture she took was bought before we got married except for the couch and TV. We split all bills. We were only married for 2 years. She's an accountant that saves every single receipt, even if she just buys water. And guys, good grief, this is my last edit. I'm not mad about her taking the things she took. I only added that part because my son thought I lost everything. Honestly, she did me a favor. I have to drive clear across the state to get to my mum's and wouldn't be able to afford to store anything big since apartments have long wait lists. I do not care about what she took. And I guess the warning from the comment was right in the way that ended. It's incredibly sad, and although OP said in their edit that they don't care about the things and like they're sort of moving on in some ways, it's still incredibly infuriating that this person has done all this shit to you two and just gotten away with it. Someone that was your wife, someone that you thought that you loved and they loved you, and then this one thing which, you know, you thought you would see eye to eye with because she's a fucking thief, and it just turns out like that and turns everything and comes takes the furniture and everything. That's incredibly frustrating. And all I can hope for is an update one day in the future where OP turns around and say things did turn for them. But I don't know. What do you guys make of this one? And we're going to top this with a little wholesome story I found just to hopefully lighten things and get us out of that frustration. And it's from Kiwi Guy, who says, on my honeymoon in Greece, we nearly got stranded driving our little scooter back from a day trip. Finally found a petrol station in this village, but it was during our afternoon nap/siesta time. We apologized as best we could in the little Greek we knew. The guy obliged but looked a little annoyed. He casually asked where we are from, and we tell him New Zealand. His face lights up and is amazed because he had never met someone from New Zealand before. He asks us what we are doing so far away from home. We tell him it's our honeymoon. He tells us to wait there and comes back with a bottle of wine that's obviously worth more than the €6 of petrol we are buying. He refuses for us to round up the bill or for us to buy anything. He just tells us, honeymoon is honeymoon. Be happy. Go. Hands down, one of the best highlights of our trip. And I always think when we get stories like that and there's that wholesome person there who's done something wonderful, created this memory in their brain that they sounds like they're going to hold on forever. And I like to think that out there somewhere, he's still in that petrol station being this wholesome dude. And I think that is wonderful. But what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and just thank you for spending your time with me today. Getting involved in the stories, your love, support and time always means the absolute world to me, so thank you so much for being awesome and being involved and showing your love not just to me, not just to the stories and the OPs involved, but to one another down in the comments as well. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today